Alright, so for this lab, right, we got these collision cards here. What we're going to be trying to do is see if momentum is conserved. Remember, what that means is if we have this car going along and it hits that car, how much of the momentum from this car gets transferred to that one, okay? So the first thing we need to do is find the momentum of this car, right? So remember that momentum is the mass and velocity of the car. So first step is we need to find the mass. So you've got these things, we've used them before. Remember that they have a side with kilograms on them. Unfortunately, it does measure in grams though, so you have to convert from grams to kilograms. Okay, so one thing you need to check if you have this is make sure that it's calibrated. So right there, the edge of that red thing should match up with the 0 line, right? If it doesn't, it's not calibrated, you're not going to get good numbers. So twist this little thing here until it gets to the 0, okay? If yours is already there, then you're good. Don't mess with it. All right, so this is going to be what we push the cart with, right? Just like last time, you're going to pull it back first, line the cart up with a 0, and then just push it, okay? So that way our push is the same every time. Just pull it back as far as it goes, because this is not what we're changing. This is what we're keeping the same. So just push it all the way back, line it up right with the edge of the car, and then let it go, okay? Try to keep your hand steady when you do it, right? So pull it back, line it up, and then just release. That's how we're going to get the car moving, okay? Don't forget, so for the mass, I basically did it for you guys already. So these cars are about 500 grams. So that means on data table 1, this car, which is our first car, we're going to write for the mass 0.5 kilograms, right? Because 500 grams is 0.5 kilograms. So if you look at that data table, you need what? Distance and time, right? We need the velocity. That's like one of the things we need for momentum. So on this track right here, you can't see it, but there's a little ruler with numbers, right? So if we start at the 0 right here, we can see how far the track moves. The car moves on the track right there. So what you need to do then, we're just going to do this first car by itself, okay? We just want to find the momentum of this car when we hit it with this. So basically, you're going to hit the car. One of you is. The other person is going to time, and then the third person is going to stop the car at some spot right there. It doesn't really matter where they stop it, as long as when they stop it, the timer stops at the same time. So one person's job, just this. They're going to count down 3, 2, 1, and then hit the car. Okay. When they say 1, timer, hit the time. Car starts moving. At some point down there, third person, just gently stop the car. Timer, it's your job to watch. As soon as they stop, press stop on the time. All right? So now you have a time, and then you can calculate the distance, right? So if it started at 0, right? So the back of the car started at 0. So when you measure it over here, you need to measure from the back of the car, not the front, okay? But you'll have a distance. These are in centimeters, so you will have to convert to meters. So if this one was like 180 centimeters, you'd write 1.8 meters in your data table, okay? Do that 2 or 3 times. 2 is fine. I know I put 3 on the data table, but as long as the numbers are close, 2 trials is fine. So just a reminder, hit it, same amount of force, some person time, other person gently stop the car, timer stop the time. Record your distance and time at that point. So that's for this car. That'll get you your velocity, right? So now you have your distance and time, you can do your velocity of the cart, which is distance divided by time. Go ahead and do this data table, the first one that you wrote down, that's for cart 1 by itself. Pause the video, do that right now. Once you're done, go ahead and come back, start the video again, and I'll show you the next step, okay? All right. So, if you're done with cart 1, data table 2 says cart 2. The mass of cart 2 is the same as cart 1, 0.5 kilograms, so we're already good on there. Now we need to find the velocity of this one. So this one is the one that we're going to collide with, okay? So we're going to set it some distance over here. We're going to do the same thing to this cart, right? We got the momentum of this cart. The reason we did that is because we're going to collide it. We're going to find out the momentum of that one after the collision and see what the difference is. See if it was conserved or not conserved, okay? So, just like in the first step, someone's going to hit it, Okay? This time, the timer doesn't start right there because we're focused on this cart now. So for this next data table, this cart, you're going to start the time right there. As soon as you hear that little click, go ahead and start your time. Okay? After that, same thing down there. So you start it, timer starts, someone gently stops the cart, and then as soon as they gently stop the cart, you stop the time. Okay? Now, only difference here, right? So we've got our time, and we know where the ending distance was, right? Here's the problem. We didn't start this cart at the 0. We started it at, say, the 50. I recommend you just start at the 50 every time just to be consistent. So if you start at the 50, and let's say it gets down to like 150, the distance it traveled is not 150, right? It would be the 150 that it got to minus where it started at, minus that 50. So your total would be 100, which after you convert it would be 1.0 meters. So that's our second data table, okay? Right there. Cart number 2, you want to start the time as soon as this one collides into it. That's when you start the time. Gently stop it, stop the time, do the distance minus the starting distance, and then you can calculate your velocity. So now you have the mass, the velocity, you can calculate the momentum. That's it. So at this point, pause the video, do this part of the lab, and then come back when we go to the third data table. All right. Third data table. So we did it. The carts are even mass, and we want to see what happened. Now we want to add a little bit of mass. So we're going to add 500 grams. 500 grams. Cart weighs 500 grams. So if we add this on here, our new mass is 500 plus 500, which would be 1,000 grams, right? Which becomes 1 kilogram, okay? So after that, the setup is just the same as the last time. We're still looking at this one's momentum, right? We want to see if the momentum changes when we have a heavier cart. So we started at the 50 here, right? Someone hits it over here, and then gently stop the time. Just like in the last one, that's when you start the time, right when it hits right there. Because we want to start the time when this starts moving, right? So start the time right there. As it's moving, as soon as your third partner gently stops it, stop the time. Now you have your time, same thing. You've got to subtract the starting distance, okay? Convert to meters, and you're good. You have your distance and your time, calculate the velocity, calculate the momentum, see what happened, okay? One thing I want you to do here too, and the last one too, is look at the velocity. So when you launch this one, look at how fast it's going, and then when you have this mass, like, just watch and see how the velocity changes. So see how the velocity changes and see how the momentum changes from your data table, okay? Finally, last data table. We're just going to do it one more time. This time we're going to add 1,000 grams. So now we have 500 plus 1,000. That's 1,500 grams. That would be 1.5 kilograms. So that's your mass. Same setup to find your distance and time, right? Hit this car, let it go. Start the time when it clicks. Stop the time when someone gently stops it, and then subtract your starting distance. That's it. Same thing. Distance, time, calculate velocity, calculate momentum, compare it to your other data. Okay? That's it.